the morning time is tough for me.
Oh.
I'm not a morning person. I'm very cranky. I need at least 90 minutes in the morning before anyone talks to me, or I get very upset.
No one's allowed to talk to you.
No one's allowed to talk to me. Sometimes people break that rule, Dan, and then they regret it.
Not allowed to talk to you? What is that about?
I don't know. I get irrationally angry. It doesn't matter, even if you're being nice. I just get mad at you. Then I get a little snarky with people. It's not great.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but midday, boy, am I a treat. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see your beautiful face.
Wow.
Oh boy, you look good.
Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
On the show, we watch movies, and now that we're heading into the Halloween season of towns, spooky.
Season of towns, the Halloween season of towns, everybody. Let's go.
We thought, like usual, we'll do some Halloween-type movies, and this one I picked this week, we've had...
I do like, first of all, I just want to say, I like that you put type. Halloween type movies, because they're not great, and they're not scary, but, you know, thematically close.
I picked the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion. This is a movie we haven't talked about a lot.
But we've mentioned
2003, hour and 29 minutes with a good 11 minutes of credits. So this movie's...
Oh, boy. It should have zipped by. It didn't feel that short, but that's okay.
I did get this one done pretty quick. I watched like the first half, and then I was like, I'm going to do something else. Then I was like, no, I'm going to watch the secand half just to be done with it.
I'm just going to power through. Yeah, that's probably smart. You don't want to drag this one out. Not fun.
Because an hour and 20 minutes, you can get through that pretty quick. If like in an hour and 20 minutes, you can get through it if you really sit there.
Right. If you're gung ho about it. I wasn't. I stopped. I made popcorn, and then I stopped again later to find some Bunch of Crunch that I couldn't find in my cupboard. So it was two nice breaks.
Popcorn and Bunch of Crunch. See, so you had a good time.
Yeah, it's movie snacks.
You had a good time,
on, baby. I had a great time. I was munching on stuff. It's good.
We went and saw the premiere of this movie. I think
know you did.
At the. Maybe not the premiere, but like the first week at the big movie theater on Hollywood Boulevard that Disney owned or owns.
Sure.
And afterwards there was a giant tent where they had this whole thing set up, and you got your picture taken, and that part was great.
Do you still have your picture?
Yeah, I still have my picture. It's right over there in a box somewhere.
Oh, I love it. Well, you should find it, and we should fly it so everyone can see how young you look.
Let me try.
That's 20 years ago, Dan. Can you believe that?
It is 20 years ago.
20 years! Unbelievable.
That is.
I bet you look like a spring chicken.
No, I think I still look pretty haggard. But I didn't remember anything about this movie. Then watching the movie... There were whole sections I was like, yeah, man, I know. Don't remember any of this. And I'm going to start, I'm about to finish, so I'll let you do some talking.
Great.
This is, I'll say other things as we go along, but I really only have one thing that stood out in this movie. Like
good or bad?
Good or bad. Good or bad.
Okay.
I have one good thing.
Either side of the pendulum, I wrote down one note. That's it.
I wrote down the whole plot, but there's only one thing where I stopped to myself and said, I like this. And then
I can't wait to hear what that was. I didn't have one of those moments. I don't think so. I'm excited.
I don't know that I laughed at any of the jokes.
No. There weren't jokes. You know what I mean?
Joke Jays. Oh, actually, no. I have to admit it. The little kid, the boy kid, had one. He delivered one joke that I liked. He was he was delivering better than Eddie.
I'm going to throw this out there. He might have been the best one, the second best one in the movie.
Okay. And my other thing I want to say is I was, clicking around. I went through Netflix, and The Machine, Machine #1 movie on Netflix,
Come on, you guys. Everybody wise up. It's a bad movie.
And they had the bit where his dad has showed up and he's like, Dad's here and he's doing the clicking and the popping. And the wife does the things like, oh, I feel your pain, just like, because she doesn't, she's just like, oh, what a nightmare it is to deal with that horror man that doesn't. And I was just like, man, there was more comedy in that tiny clip of the machine. Clip. and I think back on the machine, had a bunch of problems, but there was a lot of things that happened and memorable things that you're like, okay, this is at least something to think about.
No, you know what? I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not going to give it to you. Know what? No, this movie infinitely better than the machine. How about that, Dan? How about that?
Do you really believe that?
I really believe that I like Eddie Murphy in this movie more than I like Bert in that movie.
Okay, I can see. I mean,
but the movie is not. No, it's not even close.
It's not good. So we start with the titles, intermixed with the titles, which have all these tarot cards and things that don't have anything to do with anything.
Sure, but Dan,
yeah,
was there a penis on one?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm almost positive I saw a naked man on one of the tarot cards, and he was just fully on display. And I was like, "That's a weird choice for a Disney movie."
Well, I believe the devil one is a naked man and woman hanging upside down. Is that what you're talking about?
That might have been it. All I wrote down was PP tarot card ? So I'm going off memory here, but I'm pretty sure I saw PP.
So you got a little excited. You're like,
I got a little hot under the collar. I had to go get some water, some ice, and just cool off, And
another thing about this Haunted Mansion movie, there is nothing scary in this movie.
There's nothing scary. Not even a little bit scary. Which is a real disappointment for me. Because you can make kids' movies a little scary, right?
But I mean, is this a kids' movie?
Doesn't it have to be?
No, I mean...
You think it's not a kid's movie? I don't know, Dan.
Well,
I don't know.
Is Pirates of the Caribbean, which is ostensibly why they made this movie. Pirates of the Caribbean comes out, makes $1 billion, is a great movie. Yeah. This is why they make this movie. That's why the movie was made.
Yeah.
Pirates isn't a kid's movie. This doesn't play like a kid's movie.
It's not... You're right. It's not a movie made for kids, but kids do enjoy it. And point in case, it's 2023. And my 10-year-old, 11-year-old, he's 10 or 11, nephew dressed up as Jack Sparrow this Halloween.
Oh, you bet he did.
That's how cool it still is.
The
original. Don't worry about the sequels.
Jack Sparrow in that first movie will be cosplayed forever.
It's unreal.
Forever.
This movie does not have any sort of lasting appeal.
And one last sort of thing I'll say before we dig into this. If this had been about the kids, if we'd focused on the kids and made it about the kids, might have been a movie.
My biggest question that I have is who, and I'm specifically asking who, because I didn't look this up, who wrote this thing? Who went and saw Pirates of the Caribbean and was like, we're going to do the same thing for Haunted Mansion. And it came up with this shit. This isn't even kind of close to what they did with Pirates.
Not even close.
Pirates is a real movie. It's a pirate movie. This is just a movie that happens to be in a house. And there's like some stuff that happens in the ride every once in a while, but not even a lot, to be honest with you.
Oh,
and there's nothing.
They cover all the ride stuff pretty well.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since I've been on the ride.
No.
But the only thing I remember from the ride is, two things. And they did do one very well. You're riding in the car, and then it goes to the mirror, and it puts like a ghost in between you and your friend. Yep. That's what I remember from the ride.
The hitchhiking ghost, they did that.
The hitchhiking ghost, was that in there?
Yeah. When they're in, I think, I don't know, at one point they're in there, and then there's the big guy on the left side, and then the hairy guy on the right side, and then they're like, he's like, what are you doing with us here? And they're like, we're not here. What are we doing? Something like that.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, I did hate that scene.
It's a terrible scene. It was worthless.
Yeah, okay. You're right. Nope. That happened. I take it back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, they go through the graveyard, see all the graveyard things. They have the ballroom, pretty much everything, and that's part of the.
Oh yeah, the ballroom. Yeah.
That's
yep.
part of the problem with the movie is that they were like, we got to get all this stuff in there, and we're just going to push it all in there, and we'll make up a plot, and then all the stuff will be in there, and it will all have nothing to do with the plot.
Whether or not it has any effect on the story or anything, we're just going to put it in there for fun. Yeah.
So
I do enjoy the quartet.
The what?
Right? The singing heads, the quartet.
Well, you just got to the one thing I was going to say I liked in the movie.
That's your thing. Okay. And I think it could have been better. Should have been better, but I enjoyed them the most in the movie.
We'll talk about it's at one point they have the 4 singing heads that are sculptures, and it was the blueprint from which this movie should have been cut, because that scene
was not
knew what it was doing, and then they didn't make that movie. That's the movie they should have made.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll put a pin in it. We'll come back to it. Let's start. Tarot card peepees. Go.
So basically, we have intercut scenes that tell us the setup of the movie. This dude is at a costume ball. There's a letter. Letter goes under the door. The dude reads the letter, or somebody reads the letter. Then the woman kills herself. And then at 13 o'clock, he finds out she's dead. He carries her into the ballroom where the dancing is, and then he hangs himself, which is another thing in the Haunted Mansion thing, where the guys, when you're in the stretch, when you're at the end of the stretching room, you look up and there's a person hanging up there.
Wait, Dan, I've been on this ride 5-6 times. I never knew that. That's at the beginning? When you go in the elevator? You go,
and then it goes crack, 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 and then you look up and there's someone hanging.
They need to tell me to look up, because I don't look up. I've never seen that person hanging before in my entire life.
I'm staring at a black wall in a dark room. I'm not looking. Aren't you looking?
There's lots of people around. I got people all over the place, and people watching, checking them out.
Did you see the stretching portraits? Where the woman's
there? I saw
there?
the portraits, and I was like, oh, what a fun effect. And then I'm done. I thought that was the whole thing. So I'll have to go back. That's ridiculous.
So he has hung himself. His bride-to-be has poisoned herself, and then he has hung himself. And so we're like, oh, I guess he's going to need a new bride, and that's going to be the movie.
Now, Dan.
Yes.
When you saw this beginning, did you immediately think of a different movie? Let me just shore it up, because that's a really wide open question. This movie reminds me of a really, really poorly told Dracula tale. Because that's kind of Dracula's thing. He's got, his lady dies, and then Mina comes along, and he's like, oh, Mina, you remind me of my old lover. And then that's the whole story.
Really?
Is he lives forever. His old lady died. Now Mina's his new bride. That's the whole story. It's this.
I didn't know that.
You just... Have you never seen Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I saw it when it came out, but I never saw it again.
You probably didn't see it again because a lot of people make fun of it. It's a good movie, though. It's good. Gary Oldman, oh boy, he's good.
There's some weird stuff at the beginning where he's like getting young and old that I kind of like, but the rest, Keanu's terrible.
And then Keanu, isn't great. He's not great, but I love him.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's kind of his tale. That's Dracula's tale. She dies, and then he waits forever, and then she's reincarnated, basically, and he falls in love with her again.
Yeah.
And then tries to take her.
And it's like, this is not a tale we care. Unless you're going to make it scary or something, it's not a tale we're going to care about.
No.
Because we don't care about this dude. We don't care about his lost love. And in this movie, it
almost doesn't feel like he does.
No, he doesn't.
Other than he's trying to win her over a little bit, he's not. The whole thing, Dracula's like a tragic gothic tale, and you feel bad for this guy, but he's a monster, and it's like, what am I doing? This guy's just a ghost, lives in a house, and he's like, hey, she kind of looks like the girl I used to bang. We should get her back in the ghost world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Not great.
Kid rides up to the Haunted Mansion now. Then a ghost goes spooky at him, and then he drops a bunch of real estate flyers, which I guess he was putting in mailboxes, I guess.
And I guess you could extrapolate that if you really thought about it pretty hard. But to me, it's confusing because why is he there? Because they don't have the property.
Well, no,
right?
I'm assuming these are just flyers. If you want to buy a house or sell a house, here's my information.
Okay.
And so
this house doesn't seem to be by any other houses, though, right?
No.
Why is the kid? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, this kid's dumb.
This is the thread because that flyer. One of the ghosts inside sees that flyer and then sees what Eddie Murphy's wife looks like, and then figures out that she looks like this thing, which seems pretty happenstance.
Pretty happenstance. Pretty stupid, if you ask me.
Stupid, because she could have lived out her whole life with no one ever delivering a flyer there. And then this.
He shouldn't have. The kid shouldn't have been there in the first place. So,
doesn't make any sense.
Boy, are they lucky. Dan,
yeah.
What are the ghost rules of this world? Because
none.
Okay. Then I'll just stop. I'm just going to stop. Put the brakes on. We'll just stop. We don't even need to talk about it. I feel the same way. I was really confused.
They can, it's funny on the internet. Somebody was like, David Harbour was so good in Stranger Things, and now he sucks. And then everybody was like, Gran Turismo was incredible. The
fucking good.
Santa Claus movie was incredible.
Yes.
And speaking of a ghost movie, whatever, it has a terrible title.
We Have a Ghost or something like that.
Which was the worst part of a great film. If it didn't have that title, it probably could have been a good film.
The only movie he did that wasn't good is Hellboy. And to be fair, very bad. Very, very bad, if you remember, Dan. But other than that, the guy's killing it. The guy's crushing it.
Yeah, so it's very funny to think of, like, how do you make a ghost movie? Well, they made a ghost movie that no one saw that was great.
Yeah. Real bummer. I didn't even see it, to be honest with you, but I want to.
Wait, you saw that movie?
No, it's on my list. She won't watch it, Dan. Every time we're like, it's movie night. What do you want to watch? I bring it up. She just doesn't want to.
You haven't watched it? It's so good.
Stop I'm already sold. You don't need to sell me anymore, Dan. I want to see it.
Okay.
I love that man.
So Eddie and his wife are real estate agents. He cares about being a real estate agent. She doesn't care about being a real estate agent. She tells us that she doesn't care, but she does care, but she doesn't care, but she does care, but she doesn't care. We don't know if she cares, but she doesn't care.
I guess you know what's weird, Dan? I didn't realize she was also a real estate agent.
She's on the flyer, Evers and Evers.
I know she's on. Oh, that's right. That is two names, though, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's the same name, and it's both of their names.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know why. I just kind of got the feeling like she's like there and she supports and goes along sometimes, but she's not like really a part of the business. But yeah, I guess you're right.
Maybe you could have switched things up and made her the one that's very intensely into doing the real estate stuff. That would have been different and surprising.
This is silly, by the way.
But instead, we have the classic bangarang situation where the dad neglects the children, sort of, but not really. And then, we sort of have that, but it doesn't ever really mean anything. And the kids don't barely even care that he doesn't pay attention to them.
No, the kids don't care. Well, to be fair, he's not a great dad. The kids don't care.
The kids don't care. So he's trying to close this house, and then he does a trick thing and tricks them into wanting to buy the house.
Yeah, so here's my biggest problem with this movie is that Eddie Murphy isn't Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Right? Which is why I thought is why I think it's a kid's movie, is because he feels very reined in. Like very much, no, Eddie, you can't go Eddie. You got to be on this straight and narrow. Your jokes can't be, adult themed at all. They have to just be silly, plays on words or something. I don't know. He felt very tame and timid, and that's not what I want to see from Eddie Murphy.
Kevin Hart slips in the turtle's poop.
Right. I love that we go back to this movie.
Well, no, you got to go back to all the movies we've done, because that's the whole thing is to try to analyze all of movies through the lower echelon of movies where they get it wrong. And, even a movie that gets it wrong a lot also gets it, has hints of getting it right. This movie, very few hints of getting it right.
Just the one, really, right? Just the
Just the
heads.
Well, I mean, the one kid had a joke. I think I wrote it down.
Did you write it? I hope you wrote it down, because if we go through this whole day and we don't know what joke you liked, I'm gonna lose my mind, Dan.
Okay, so now he goes to a tiki bar where there's the people whose house he just sold, and he's going to get them to sign the paperwork the same day, and they're like, have a drink in the volcano. And he's like, no, it's my anniversary. And then he finally tries to leave.
Also, he said he's driving. He has to drive to meet his wife, and they're like, no, get drunk.
Yeah,
please get drunk. Very weird.
And they talk. More importantly, they say, get one of these volcano drinks. We never see the drink.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell
No, it doesn't come. He leaves again. He leaves before it comes. I don't know, man.
But he tries to leave, and then another couple's like, did you just sell their house? We have a house to sell. And he's like, okay, let's talk. Which, of course, would just be him getting their phone number. It wouldn't have taken him more than a minute.
Thank you. Or just giving them his card. He's a real estate. He's got a card. Just be like, great, here, I'm Everson Evers. Give me a call tomorrow during business hours like a human.
But somehow he doesn't make it to his anniversary dinner. And we don't, it's one of those classic things where we don't see her sitting at the dinner. We don't even know, like, was she at a restaurant and then was there for 2 hours? I don't understand any of this. He has a cell phone, right?
No, you don't. Yeah, it's 2003. He's got cell phones. We see it.
Yeah.
We see him. He's on the cell phone all the time. Yeah.
Honey.
Did you have a cell phone in 2003, Dan?
No clue.
I did.
There you go.
Ooh, I had one. That was my senior year of high school. I was a texting champion. I was so fast back in the day. I'm much slower now when they have the whole keyboard, but when it was the number system, where I'm like 334488777. I was so fast at that, Dan. It was unbelievable.
Was there a reason?
Yeah, because I'm awesome. Oh. Is that not a good enough reason for you? No, I was just fat. I did it a lot, and I got really fast. We used to do competitions at school. There would be a sentence, and you'd have to type it out as fast as you could, and I would win.
And that is a worthless talent.
Well, it is now, because now you got full keyboards, you got swipe text. I'm useless now. Now I'm an old man.
Voice to text. Tony.
Do you voice to text, Dan? Please. Please tell me you're one of those guys that sits in like a crowded room and does voice to text. Yeah, that sounds great, honey. Send. And everybody's hearing what you're texting. Oh boy, those people crack me up.
I don't text for the most part, except to tell them.
All right, well now you made it sad.
I tell the upstairs neighbor, I'm like, you've got packages down here. Come get your packages for their stolen.
Packages.
I did that Sunday night.
That's very nice of you to do that, because packages disappear all the time.
I usually take his packages upstairs and leave them up there, but okay.
Do you take pictures? Are you that
his
guy?
Packages? Why would I take pictures of his packages?
Hey, you got your packages here. No?
Why would I do? What is that supposed to do?
I don't know, just to let him know that I don't know, Dan. All right, you're going the extra mile, letting him know. I just was wondering.
Okay. So he gets home. He gives her a bear. There's a expensive watch which she puts on, so she's not that mad.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm mad, and he's like, but we've sold 7 houses, but you missed family stuff. The kids did a thing, and then another thing, and then it's just literally forgotten within seconds.
Dan, he said we've sold 7 houses this month.
Yeah, that's good.
Not this year. 7 houses in a month? This guy should not be living in this tiny house that he's living in right now. They should be living in a mansion.
Well, they will be.
7 houses worth of commission. Oh, my God. That's a good month.
So we're going to take the weekend off. He goes upstairs. His kid is afraid of a spider that's on the window, which you don't see until it gets splatted, which I thought was very weird.
And then it's like super neon green blood splatter. What is that? What is this ooze that comes out of this poor spider? So
we learn that this kid, his challenge is facing spiders or facing his fears. And we'll get to that. And then, of course, he doesn't face his fears, and then the sister comes in, and she's just like, kill that thing. I'm like, okay, she's cool.
Okay, she's cool. She's on my butt. I want her in here. I kill my spiders. Here's my problem, Dan.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, whose character name I don't know.
Kid's name Michael. Her name's Sarah. His name's like Jimbo or something.
Jimbo. Okay, well, we'll go with Jimbo for the rest of the time.
His name is Jim. It actually is Jim.
Okay, it is Jim. Jimbo Jim here says, and I quote, "I'm not afraid of anything." He says that to his son. The rest of the movie, he is afraid of everything, Dan. Every single thing. All he does is scream and cry about how scared he is. Ridiculous.
The daughter's name is Megan. Yeah, I mean, and that's
Megan.
If you're going to set up a game, play the game.
Play the game. That's the only thing I know how to do. Someone sets up a game, I'll play it. That's it.
So, boom, they're going. Oh, she gets a call about a house. And the house, it's all spooky. The master wants you to come alone. Because they've seen the flyer, so they're calling her out there. And then I guess he tells... Did she tell him? How did she know about the call?
I thought that it was like a postcard or something.
No, he calls.
Because he's... Maybe she must have wrote down the address. Because he's like, do you know where this house is? All those houses are mansions. Let's sell this house. Or something.
So he's like, we're taking a detour. And then they get there and there's the big gate. And then he actually tells...
Well, because he promised they were going to the beach,
they're going to the beach
for the week?
For the week, because they're in Louisiana and they're going for the beach for the weekend. Just the weekend.
Yeah, it's just the weekend.
Yeah, it's just a weekend.
It's not really vacation then.
No.
That is just a weekend.
No, but he called it a take off the weekend. Yeah, so they're taking off for the
That's
weekend.
What they called it. Okay. Yeah. Taking off for the weekend.
So there's the big gates, and the gates are locked. And then he actually says a joke I like, must have a big possum problem down here.
Right.
It's a good joke.
It's a good joke. Sure. Yeah.
And I didn't realize at the time that was pretty much the last joke he was going to
That was the only joke you're going to get from Eddie. So you better cherish it forever.
It's locked with a big lock, and then they're like, let's go. And then it just opens. And so he's like, let's drive in. We see the crow. The kids are hungry. They get there. They go around the back. And then there's like a gigantic graveyard around the back. And they actually did it. There was one joke about the graveyard that... I don't remember what it was, but there was a decent...
I didn't write it down.
Yeah. And so then it starts to rain, so they run around the front, they knock on the door, he does the Young Frankenstein big knockers joke, and you were all like, ugh. Don't do that.
He made a real booby joke there.
Yeah. Did they look...
Look at these huge knockers.
That's
what he says.
Did they look like boobs?
Nope. No, I think it was just the word. I think it's just the word that was the joke.
Well, you know the Young Frankenstein joke, right?
I haven't seen Young Frankenstein in a while because I'm a Spaceballs guy, Dan.
So when they get to the castle, he sees the big that, and then Terry Garr comes up and she's like all bosomy, and he goes,
"Of course,
big great knockers," and she's like, "Thank you," which is like a great joke. It's like a joke. It's like a joke.
That is a good joke. Because there are knockers in the scene.
Yeah.
So it makes it's a double entendre.
And knockers, and no one's ever made that joke before. He makes the joke without the situation.
without any other context whatsoever.
And we're like, oh,
great job.
Why are you stealing a joke and not making the joke?
God.
So they go, they knock, the doors open, they go inside. They say it smells like grandma's house, and then the kid says, worse, it smells like grandma. that was a little kid getting off one joke. I think he still has another one, too. And here comes Terrence Stamp as the deadest fish of all fishes, playing the butler guy, who's
just a real swing and a miss for me. And it makes me sad, because I like him.
You got Terrence Stamp.
But, like, oof.
No
one could direct him?
Why do you hire Terrence Stamp?
To be Terrence Stamp, to do something. I should just say to do something. You could have hired anybody you wanted to do this role. It's monotone the whole time, other than the fact that, he has the look, because he's got this crazy hair. Yeah. He's got the look. But anyone could have played this role. This is not worth the money that you paid him. Plain and simple.
He's sleepwalking through the role, and you can tell that they didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, no one has a problem with it. Why? Why is that? Why don't we care?
I don't know. So boom, we go to the dinner. There's a big dinner table. And then the dude from the credits shows up. He's still alive, or he's his grandson, or whatever, but he's the dude from the credits. Yeah. And then he's all hitting on his wife, talking about the house, and then, of course, he says, "You believe in ghosts?" And then he's like, "Oh, the rain flooded the road, so you got to stay the night." And then they show them to their rooms. Tony.
Well, here's...
Okay, you go.
I just want to say it was a weird way to set up that they can't leave the house. Because basically they were like, "Oh, it's raining. You can't leave." And then he goes, "But you're welcome to stay if you want." That's the only other option. It's not like, I don't know. It was very weird, and it was very clunky, and it was just, let's come up with a slightly more organic way to strand them. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, it's a fine line to take care of it easily. The thing I had the problem with is they're just going to sleep in their street clothes and not brush their teeth and not do anything and not, it's like,
You're just talking about a Wednesday night in Tony's household. You know what I mean? Just be like, I don't feel like it.
But you wouldn't go out to your car and get your luggage?
I would go get my luggage. Well, that's a good point, because they are going somewhere already. They do have luggage. I did forget about that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's not like your picture show, Brad and Janet, where they're, just looking to use the phone and then get stuck there.
Right. And then then you're there. No, they were headed out on, what was it? Getting away for the weekend,
Yep, getting away for the weekend. So they're like, okay, let's see. No luggage. I wrote, they fight. Oh, him and his wife fight. You work too much. And then the master wants to talk to Eddie Murphy, so he's got to go down to the library. And then the kids are in their room. They don't have any phone. And then Eddie Murphy does some bits around the library.
He did some bits?
Yeah.
Some bits and bobs?
Yeah, he starts...
What did he...
Well, he steals a cigar.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
Steals some matches, which he's going to need later. He fiddles with things and then finds a secret compartment. Don't you remember that?
Yes. Nope, not really. I remember the cigar. Because he's like, I better keep this for later. Or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Not a joke. He doesn't do
just says it.
Doesn't do a bit. But he kind of does bits. You're like, let him loose in the room and he'll find funny things to do. Just a little. We're not gonna let him really do some funny things. He doesn't take off his shoes and put his socks over things. He doesn't do anything interesting.
Yeah. Great library.
So boom. Let's see. The kids find this one music box. They open the music box, and then this ghost ball comes out, and they're like, "What's that?" And the girl's like, "It's a ghost ball."
She immediately names it as a ghost ball. That's a problem for me, Dan. They've never seen a ghost ball before in their lives. Ghost ball, not a real thing. And immediately she's like, "Well, it's obviously a ghost ball, you idiot. I know exactly what this is. It doesn't even look like a ghost." Why is ghost ball the thing that you jump to? That's ridiculous.
And what does she do with the ghost ball?
Nothing. Do they follow it?
Yeah, they follow it.
Yeah, a bunch of idiots. Dumb kids. You know what? They should have died in the house.
Let's follow it. Now, the wife has gone down to the ballroom, and then she's all like, "Where's my husband?" And they're like in the library. And then they go to the library, and Eddie Murphy's gone, but nobody notices or cares that he's gone. And so then I think, did she spend the rest of the movie just hanging out with him?
I mean, the next big chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, until the third act. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he tells the whole story where he's selling the house because the memories are painful. And then, actually, they move around the house a little bit. But yeah, they
go on a little mini tour.
They just hang out. Does she care about what's happening with her kids going to bed? No. Does she care about Eddie Murphy?
No. I mean, why would you? But now, Dan, let me ask you a question. Was she terrible, or was it just me?
No, she was not terrible. She did not exist. She was a ghost ball. She just floated there and lines emitted from her.
She was a ghost ball.
I mean,
okay,
yeah,
so all right.
I mean, would I would I look at this work and not hire her? No, but would I look at this work and hire her? No, because I didn't. I would say it was like the kids in Dumbo. Would I not hire those kids? I'm like, if you give the kids nothing to do, they have nothing. You gave her nothing to do. What is she supposed to do?
I didn't feel like her argument was very good. In the scene where she argues with Eddie just a minute ago.
Oh, the fight. Okay.
The fight. I felt like she was too flat to keep up with Eddie, and Eddie barely trying in this movie.
That's true.
So, like, the bar was already pretty low, and she still was underneath it, so I was a little, I don't know.
And she didn't give you any mom energy. She didn't give you any she's his partner energy, or she works with him energy, or she's unhappy with him.
No real estate energy whatsoever, okay?
I mean, truthfully, a real estate woman should have some real estate person energy.
Absolutely.
She's like, I gotta get this done, but I don't think they wanted her to have a personality, because then you'd have to
she's not his wife. Because she's got to be neutral, because she's two different wives in one. Got it. I figured it out.
There it is. Okay, so let's see. Okay, boom, boom, boom. The kids take the elevator up to the attic. Eddie, okay, so he goes down a hallway, sees the walls of portraits, gets to the breathing door. What do you want to say about the breathing door, Tony?
What did he say? Termites? Is that what he said it was?
I did not write it.
Termites or something? It was so dumb. Whatever he said was so wrong, because the door is moving and he's walking towards it. He's like, oh boy, they must have some big termites in here. I've never seen a termite move a door. Okay, guy? I don't care how big it is. The door isn't going to bend. That's how doors work.
And why is...
but then he just keeps going towards it.
And he just goes through it, right?
Yeah, he just opens it up, walks on through, and looking for some big termites, I guess.
Has no effect, means nothing, no explanation as to why this door is breathing.
Nobody in this movie, other than the boy who's scared of the spider, is afraid of the supernatural things that are happening around them. It is ludicrous.
Oh, when he's walking by the portraits, it's the portraits that, it's a person, then it turns into a Medusa. And those things happen, and then he doesn't notice, kind of like Tony with the hanging man in the Haunted Man. So Tony's, this is Tony's experience.
That is correct.
Tony's like, no, I did not see those portraits change. What? The portraits changed? The statues in the wall look at you as you walk by them?
This is the most relatable part of the movie, okay? No one's going to notice those things, Dan.
Tony's like, why did they change into things? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand.
But I mean, that's the whole point, is why do they change into things? It doesn't make... It only makes...
It has no effect on the story.
It only makes sense to someone that's been on the ride.
And sometimes not even then. Just throwing it out there.
If you don't...
yeah. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
Been on the ride and not looked in the right place.
They should do something. They should mean something. They should be a part of something.
Okay, then there's a ringing phone. It's Ramsley. Why did Ramsley call him on the phone?
I don't know.
And then I wrote the Raven. Oh, he looks in this freaky mirror and he looks like a monster, and so he's like he gets terrified and he runs away.
But he's not scared of anything, Dan. Don't worry. Ridiculous. And then later, he's got to tell his son, like, it's okay to be scared every once in a while. The guy's been scared for 4 hours straight. I don't understand this movie.
I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch a real haunted house comedy movie. I'm going to put on Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh, what a classic.
Is it?
Unbelievable. I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was like 4, probably.
I turned it on and I was just like, this is boring.
Is it boring?
It's just weird.
I'll have to look at it. I'll have to watch it.
Because it has the Wolfman and Frankenstein and Dracula in it.
Right.
And so at a certain point, it's just like Scooby-Doo, where they're like, and that's.
I do love Scooby-Doo, though.
Scooby-Doo's good.
And that's the bit.
The kids find the bride's dress, so we're like, oh. And then they find a picture, and they're like, that looks like Mom. And then we have Wallace Shawn and the maid show up with cookies, and Ramsley comes into the room. Do you want to talk about that scene?
I don't know if I remember that scene. This is the guy from Clueless, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
He's wonderful when utilized in an interesting way.
Yeah, or anyway, just anyway at all. It doesn't need to be interesting. Just, let him do something. He's very unique, right? So when you have a movie where he basically blends into the background, you're doing something real wrong. Really, really wrong. But I don't remember cookies, Dan. What happens with the cookies?
They had cookies, and they're like, we brought you cookies. And then they set the cookies,
Why?
And then Ramsley comes, and then he picks up the cookies, and then they both have to pick up cookies and eat cookies.
Are they real cookies?
I think so.
Can a ghost make real cookies?
Well, ghost can kill you with a sword. Because you threw.
Later I was going to argue they can't. So spoiler alert, Dan. I'm confused on the ghosts here.
As he should be. Back to Tony's. What are the ghost rules?
What are the rules here? Because they're like semi-corporeal, right? And I don't understand that at all.
They can make phone calls. And the phones work. How do they have phones in here?
That's a That's a good point. You don't even necessarily think about some of these things because it's so stupid.
Because they're just. Well, how are we going to get him to go to the next room? Well, have Ramsley call him on the phone.
Call him on the phone.
What? Call him on the phone because Ramsley called him on the phone. That was that. See, there's a bit. Okay, I'm writing a bit. So Ramsley calls them to get them to come there, right? And then they should they're like, oh, there's something wrong with our car. You do that thing. Can we use the phone? You make it. That'd be a good reference back to Rocky Horror. And they're all like, we don't have a phone. And they're like, well, how did you call us?
But you called us.
And then
that's nice.
Ramsley's like, you got to put somebody in the pressure position, right? That's where comedy comes from. And just like motivating
comedy gold. Never mind. You quit halfway through the lesson, Dan. Unbelievable. No wonder nobody learns.
So Ramsley wants the children because he's going to use the children to motivate the mom to.
I don't think that's going to work. Let me just throw that out there. I don't think she cares about the kids that much.
And now Eddie stumbles into Madame Leota, which is the ghost in the ball, played by Jennifer Tilly.
Now, Dan, is it a ghost in the ball?
Sure.
And that's the right answer, sure, because I don't know. Later on, it seems like maybe she's not a ghost and she's some other sort of form of magic. I don't know.
Well, actually, she can't be a ghost because she didn't leave at the end.
That's what I'm saying. But
and she's green.
Also,
she's green.
She is green, but then the heads also didn't leave. Are the heads not ghosts? This is a real question, Dan. I don't need you to stare at me blankly. I'm curious because she doesn't leave, and then the 4 statue heads don't leave. I always assumed the heads were just inhabiting the statue.
No, they're
what do you got?
They're golems.
Golems. What is a golem in this world? Do you know what I mean?
A golem is generally a creature you make out of clay, and then you put the aleph on its forehead, and it comes to life. That's Jewish magic.
Listen, I know what.
I'm going to tell you at the end of the show why they're still there.
You're going to tell me at the end of the show?
No, I can tell you now. Do you want me to tell you now?
Tell me now. Yeah, tell me now.
Because they're Jewish, and that means they can't go to heaven.
Okie doke. There you go. Now you just got to solve the lady in the ball. Got it. Oh, boy.
So stupid. So she starts telling him things, the devil's curse, and then she lifts up his chair, and then they spin around, and then she's like, follow the light to get you home. And then he finally gets out there, and then he runs, and then he gets attacked by the instruments. Why is she doing all this? No one knows, because she wants to get him to solve her problem. There's no real reason why she would do any of this.
But her problem isn't solved, right?
I don't know what her problem. Maybe she wants to solve everybody else's problems.
I don't understand her motivation one bit. I have no idea what she wants or why she's doing this because nothing for her changes.
I can assure you that the writers did not know either.
I can assure you. That's probably true.
So he meets up with the kids, And then they goes upstairs, sees the good ghosts, Wallace Shawn and the maid one, and they can't tell him. And then the kids are like, "Yeah, they're all ghosts. We have to help them break the curse." And they're all like, "Wait, what?" And then the kids are all like, "Yeah, mom's in trouble." And then come see the portrait. And then he looks at the portrait and he's like, "Oh."
Now, there's also a point where he's not believing that they're ghosts, right?
Oh, really? Okay, I don't remember that.
Eddie Murphy.
Sure.
And what he says to the kids is, they're not ghosts. We're all having hallucinations.
He says that.
He says that.
Terrible line.
Together from the food that they ate earlier. That's what he says to me.
The chicken.
The chicken. That's right. The chicken. Because it looked fun. I don't remember what he said. It was the chicken. Dan, how many people hallucinate after having bad chicken? Not only that, how many people hallucinate with their friends and family, all hallucinating the same things at the same time?
It's called mass hysteria. It does happen.
Yeah, well, listen, I have heard that term before, so you might be right.
There have been a few very odd cases of mass hysteria where people, get into this, suggestible state and then things happen.
Oh, I see. So like one person says it and then I'm like, oh shit, that is what I'm seeing. Okay, well, I guess this movie's just deeper than I thought it was. Good job, writers.
We go back to the wife and Mr. Gracie. He's all like, "We were from different worlds." In other words, she was African American. Is that what they're saying?
I mean, isn't that kind of what you have to be saying at this point? I don't know.
So they go back to Madame Leota, and she's all like, "You gotta find a key. It's in the oak tree in the Black Crypt." And so then they ride the carriage outside. They all can't get out of here. How are we gonna get there? They ride a magical carriage, which crashes through the windows.
It's very confusing.
And then we have the whole thing where they ride. Basically, we have like a 2 or 3 minute ride through Haunted Mansion attractions, which is like so weird. So we see all the, the guy, the knight in armor, and all the stuff we see in that one part of Haunted Mansion. And then we get to the singing heads, which are the 4 heads. And then they do the, they say a bunch of funny things and they do a bunch of harmonizing, and it's amusing and fun.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think it could have been a little bit stronger.
Sure.
If they would have made fun of Eddie more. That I would have liked that a lot, but that's fine. In the carriage ride, Dan, the 2 ghosts are kind of talking about, I believe this is the part, about how all these ghosts are here, why they're all there, and the explanation is that they all couldn't find the light.
Well, they're
right, because that's
ostensibly they're all the people buried back there.
So this is my question, Dan. Is why is it that in this patch of land that they're all buried in, nobody can find the light? That to me, that stems to a deeper problem here that we never really talk about.
What is?
And then all of a sudden, the light shows up and they all leave at the end.
Let me ask you a question. Eddie Murphy has to find this key, and he finds the key eventually. What does he even unlock with the key?
A trunk? That's a question.
Oh yeah, because that's where the letter is. Yeah, it is a trunk. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so they find the mausoleum. Dad's like, "I'm going in alone," but the daughter ends up coming. They go into the sarcophagus. They find a key. Wakes up a monster. He drops the key in the water. He's like, "Daughter, go in the water and get the key, and then I'll fight off the bad things." He fights off the bad things. And then they have the key. They run up there. Spiders, for some reason, take over the whole mausoleum. Door. And so the one thing the kid is supposedly afraid of. And Tony, talk about how he overcomes his fear.
Well, he just does it.
No, they yell at him.
So that's what I was talking about before. Is Eddie and the daughter are on one side of the door. The kid's on the other. He's like, "I'm afraid. I'm so scared. I don't want to do it." And then Eddie's like, "Well, you should do it."
That would be a much funnier scene. "I'm afraid. What should I do?"
And it's just, you do it. Just do it, kid. Just do it. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. Just do it.
The sister's like, "If you don't do it, I'll kill you."
like it's ridiculous. We're not helping anybody with their problems here.
And then he just does it. So then they go back to Leota, and then she's like, now you got to go find a trunk.
This reminds me of like fetch quests in a video game where you find an NPC and you got to go do something. You come back to the NPC and they send you somewhere else. And you're like, I just want to get on with the story. This is such a waste of my time.
And this is your class. It is your classic fetch quest where the characters don't make any decisions or do anything. Just an NPC tells them what to do. Here's what you do
and
next.
They do it, and they don't even know why. They don't even know why they're doing it. They're just not doing it.
And they're not even told. Yeah, they're not even really told why they're doing it or what they're even going to get when they do the thing. Just go open this trunk and you'll figure it out.
Be like, oh, all right, I guess I'll do it. It's only going to take 6 minutes.
And so they just go find the trunk. I don't think there was any problem getting the trunk. Right? It was like zero problem.
No, I don't. I think it would just happen, and it's just I don't understand why we're doing it.
You know,
give them one quest
in the Three Musketeers movie, they gotta get the diamonds to they gotta get them to the sea so they can take them across the sea and get the new ones or whatever. And so you start off with D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers. One by one, you lose the Musketeers until it's just D'Artagnan. And then when he comes back, he picks them up one by one, because they've either won their battle there or were injured and had to, and it's just like such a great thing. The one person's keeps sacrificing themselves so that the quest can continue. This thing, nothing happens. They just keep going.
Nope. I wouldn't worry about
it. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. They find the trunk. In the trunk is the letter. We find out that the woman didn't kill herself, that Ramsley set it up so that he hid the letter so that she would kill herself.
Yeah, I don't.
And he had that happen so that he could keep being the butler.
I don't know.
Could be more butler.
I didn't understand the whole motivation behind it. I don't know.
So Gracie's like, oh, we cut back to the wife of Gracie. He's all like, oh, remember our last dance? We can be together. And she's like, get away from me. She doesn't remember. You will in time. And then he says, I'm going to threaten you. Oh, your kids are going to get it. Okay.
And she's like, oh, yeah, who?
I think they throw Eddie.
My kids who?
They throw Eddie Murphy out the window?
Yes. Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, he falls out of a second-story window onto the car.
Yeah.
And he dies.
Then he fights knights to save the kids. And then
I will say, there's a nice moment, now that I'm thinking about it, where when he gets thrown out the window, he's outside, the wife's inside, and he starts trying to break the window with something.
He breaks off a metal thing and uses it.
Yeah, and the window heals itself every time he hits it. I thought that was a nice moment.
And they could have clued us into that earlier.
Sure, yeah. There's rules to the house. It's great.
So
I love rules.
So he ends up using the car to ram through, which I was like, okay. Yeah. Using his technology, gets through, goes in there and says, then he fights the knights and saves the kids. Then he's like, I've got a few objections. And then he's like, I've got this letter. And then instead of there being like some confrontation or whatever, the guy just takes the letter and is like, okay.
Reads it silently to himself.
The third act resolve is a man reading a letter to himself. And he's like, yep, I guess everything you say is true.
Look at that. This is real. Look at that. Wow. All right. Pack it up. Move on, guys.
Then Terrence Stamp gets bent out of shape. And then the movie really begins because hell opens up.
Yeah.
A giant fire dragon comes out, grabs Terrence Stamp to take him back to hell.
Yeah. What? Did he come from hell? I don't understand. First of all, what is the curse, Dan? Do you recall?
I don't know.
Okay. Because she says, quote, the devil's curse.
Who does the curse? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is the devil cursing these people to begin? I don't understand it.
Because they're not happy? If like
They're not happy.
two people,
I would be cursed every day of my life by the devil, Dan. Okay.
the devil's doing a bad job because we're unhappy pretty much 24/7, and this has nothing to do with him. And I don't think our ghosts are going to stay here when we're deceased.
I might, just for fun though.
Boom, boom, boom. So he grabs Eddie and tries to drag him with there. Mr. Gracie saves him. The wife has been poisoned, and then the ghost light comes back and saves Elizabeth by going into her.
Wait, Dan, don't skate over. This is the most beautiful scene of the movie.
Oh, is it? Okay.
His wife is dying. She's laying in Eddie's arms, and Eddie says, "No, come on, don't do it."
No.
It was the weirdest thing ever.
Please, no.
There is
help.
Zero emotion.
What's the movie where they're like, help, problem, something's happening, help. I think I checked out so hard at this point. I was just like, I was probably playing solitaire.
His wife is dead in his arms, Dan, and he has no emotion whatsoever. He's just saying the lines. It was hard to watch from someone who I really admire.
He is channeling the kids in Dumbo. And then, so Elizabeth's ghost light comes in there, goes into her, saves her, depoisons her somehow. Because that's another ghost
doesn't make
power.
a lot of sense, but it's fine.
And then,
don't worry about it.
And then all the ghosts start floating away because Elizabeth has bonded with her other Elizabeth. Maybe that's what the curse is.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And where do the ghosts go?
They just float to heaven.
They float to heaven. Why are ghosts floating to heaven? What the fuck does that even mean? Heaven? Heaven? They can go to the afterlife. That's fine. Heaven? This is like they're all Christians? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're going, this doesn't make any sense. There's a hell and a heaven, very specific. Like, what if there's like a Buddhist out there? He doesn't go to heaven.
No, this is Disney, okay? They don't exist.
I guess that invalidates the singing heads is the heaven thing, because that did make me angry.
That's right. They're not golems, Stan.
No.
Told you.
No, that's why the heads don't go there. Is because they're Jewish,
that's true.
And they don't go.
That's right.
So maybe
right. And why is the ball? Why is the ball lady not go?
She's
Dan?
a gypsy. Gypsies don't go to heaven. Okay. Well, I guess.
All right.
There it is. We solved the mystery of the movie.
So I guess they're just there forever then.
Now we get to go to heaven.
Nah, I'm good. Pass.
Tony, too angry for heaven.
Seems anticlimactic. I don't know. Now, Dan.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just me because I watch Pirates of the Caribbean too much. One might say. I disagree. I think it's just the right amount. I love that movie. Why is there a character, and not just a character, but a main character, female character, with the name Elizabeth in both movies? There are so many names out there in the world.
Oh, you know why? Because when you look at movie names, they're lazy.
I mean, I believe that. That's quite clear. The whole time during this movie, all I could think of is Captain Barbossa going, "You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one." And I was like, yeah, this is Elizabeth as a ghost. The movies are somehow connected, and I don't know how, but Elizabeth is in both of them, and they're ghost stories.
Consider if Terrence Stamp brought that level of acting and intensity.
Oh, God. Anyone in this movie just tried a little bit, I feel like it would have been much better.
So then before Mr. Gracie leaves, he's like, "Here you go, the deed to the house."
Why do I need the deed? You're dead, guy. Nobody owns this house as far as I know.
More importantly,
right?
Yeah, you holding on to this deed. You walk into the place where they, register the deeds, and you're like, "Look at this. This makes me own this house." They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?
Who are you?"
They're like, "I don't think that's how it works."
It's a binding contract scroll. Don't worry.
So then they drive off on the Florida Causeway, and there in the back seat is Madame Leota. and then the four singing heads are tied to the back of the car, which I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and they're just singing away, and I was like, hey, well, at least they brought him back. That's nice.
And then
because they are fun.
Then you want to talk about the ending credit song?
Oh, I turned it off immediately. I didn't listen to a single frame. What do you got?
It's like this weird Nelly song.
You got Nelly? Oh, well, it's 2003. I guess that actually makes a little bit of sense.
I'm pretty sure. I didn't look it up, but it sounded like Nelly. Could have been a Nelly sound-alike, but it sounded like they paid Nelly a bunch of money to make one weird song.
Well, how does that fit your movie on any level?
Oh, because whatchamacallit, at the end of the Addams Family movie, they had what's his name? Sir Dance-A-Lot.
Mix-A-Lot.
Not Sir Mix-A-Lot. The other guy. The guy with the parachute pants. Dun, 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 dun.
Can't touch this?
Can't touch this. He did the Addams Family song. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. It's been a long time since I've seen Addams Family, but that movie's good.
Look it up. It was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Was it?
It was okay.
What's his name? Raul.
Raul Julia and Angelica Houston.
Yeah. God. Yeah, they were great.
I mean, all the people in it were.
I remember. I
mean, the whole plot of the movie was like getting Uncle Fester to steal the house from them.
Oh, and that's Christopher Lloyd, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, man, the cast. Wow,
he was a weird Uncle Fester. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna have to watch this again this Halloween. I haven't seen that movie in way too long.
Report back, Tony. Give us watch.
I will. Yeah, you know what? I will.
Watch
it. Tell you what, Dan. If I don't bring it up this Halloween, it's because I didn't like it on a rewatch. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So just like Eddie Murphy's character, not funny, doesn't do anything, doesn't grow, doesn't change, doesn't even care when his wife is dead. There you go.
But to be fair, neither did I. So I kind of got where he was coming from, It's hard. It's a hard line.
I've been watching a lot of movies, and I get really... Have you watched One Piece at all on Netflix?
No.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a live action of an anime, and there's just
Oh, okay.
They just get to these good scenes where they're emotional, and it's about family and, people that you care about,
sure.
Life and death, and, I get all emotional, and then you watch a movie like this, and you're just like, man, you don't even, if you can't emotionally manipulate me a little bit, oops.
Yeah, if my meter doesn't move at all, that's a problem. Because I'm pretty easily swayed.
Yeah, so this movie is really unnecessary. It's just unnecessary.
It's a dud.
Yeah,
it was a swing and a miss for sure.
Yeah, it's not even something to really laugh about. It's just kind of like, ugh.
Now you scratch your head about it.
It's like a bad bunt. It's not even a fly ball. It's just like bunt, and the catcher
didn't even make it to first.
Picks it up and just tags you out before you've even started running.
Oh wow! They don't even throw you out at first. Oh my god!
That's how bad the bunt is. The bunt. Then he hits the bunt, and it's got spin on it. It spins under his legs. The catcher picks it up.
Just
tags you out.
Bam! You're done. You're dead,
before
son.
You can even drop the bat. You're all like, oh.
I tried to bunt one time, and I don't know what I was doing, but I held the bat too much, and I got it right on the thumb. The pitch hit me right on the thumb. Oh my god, dude! I cried so hard.
Oh, did you make it to first base? Did you make the bunt?
It was tough. No, because it went foul because it hit the top and then went backwards. So it didn't even count. And then I couldn't hold the bat anymore. And I was just like, I'm fucking done, Dad. My dad was the coach, obviously, as you might imagine.
That's a beautiful story of male bonding. Your dad,
yeah.
Your dad.
We got real closer.
Your dad holds baby Tony. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'll be okay,
in my
little
head,
one.
That's exactly what happened. And, he gave me a trophy anyhow at the end of the season. He's like, this is for trying hard, buddy. Nope.
Try hard, Tony.
Try hard, Tony. That's not a bad nickname.
No,
I'll take that. Thanks, Dan.
Anything else to say about this movie?
Don't watch this movie. I'm excited. we're in 2 weeks, right?
2
In
weeks.
2 weeks, we're going to watch the new
Yeah,
one.
watch the new one in 2 weeks.
Let's fingers crossed, everybody. Oh boy, oh boy.
So, did you watch anything good this week, Tony?
I watched one thing that I thought was good and one thing that was so strange I don't know how to feel about it yet.
Oh.
And then we rewatched Freaky last night. And if you
haven't seen it yet.
Freaky,
I got to watch that.
Oh, Dan,
Okay.
you got to watch
Yeah.
it. It's great. I love it so much.
I'm going to make that my Halloween. I got to watch Death Day 2. I haven't watched Death Day 2 ever. I got to rewatch 1 and then watch 2. I loved 1. I loved 1.
Is amazing.
So good.
2 gets weird. So I'm excited to hear what you think about it. We watched it when it came out. We haven't watched it since, but it was weird. It was weird.
Okay.
So the thing I liked, Strays.
Oh, okay.
The dog movie. I cried.
Is it dirty?
I cried, man.
Is it dirty?
It's dirty. It's much weirder than you think it's going to be when you go into it. But they bring it around and it gets emotional. There's an emotional thing at the end and I cried.
Okay.
And I was like, good job. Good job, everybody. And then the thing I don't know how to feel about yet is No One Will Save You on Hulu. We watched last night and I still haven't wrapped my head around it yet. There's some things I enjoyed and then some things I was like, what is happening? I don't know how to think about it yet, but it's worth a watch, I think.
That was the movie we watched last night that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Greatest movie I've ever seen.
Okay, so I mean we can't talk too much,
obviously. We're gonna say spoilers. If you're gonna watch this movie, you should watch this movie without seeing a trailer. The less you know about this movie, the better. Because
I agree with that.
The more you go into this movie, the more you can get into it. And we're gonna have a frank discussion between me and him. So shut the thing.
Well, we won't get too deep. I don't want to give away anything. But we see a lot of monster.
Yeah,
a lot, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Because you know what, in real life, you see the monster. The monster doesn't spend 24/7 hiding from you. That's like a that's like a standard trope. Is like, oh, we're going to show you the monster the last 5 minutes of the movie. Yeah. This movie's like you have a couple minutes of it not being seen, but then you see it, and then you see everything that happens
the rest of the time. Yeah,
I loved it. I loved that aspect.
I don't know how I feel, Dan. It was so. I'm watching it, and I'm not disliking it, but it feels wrong, and I don't know how to get past that. I was just like, this is so weird to me. I'm not used to this amount of knowing exactly what is out there.
But you see,
I don't know.
That's the whole thing, because all the aspects come into play, and then you're like, oh, you start sort of sorting out what's actually going on.
Yeah. But let me she was outstanding.
The girl, she was great.
Yeah. She had what? 3 words in the movie?
There's like 2 lines. Yeah, there's 2 lines.
Unbelievable.
2 lines at one point. She's like, line, which were the same lines. She says the same line twice. Yeah.
She blew me away because she was in Last Man Standing, and then, which is fine, but I was really impressed. She
carried the whole movie really well.
Yeah,
the ending's weird. Shannon was like, I don't know.
I want to talk about it, but I feel like that's too much.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
So we'll talk about it off air, but I understand.
Yeah. So what do you got for us next week, Tony? Before we go into Haunted Mansion news.
So next week, I feel like it's been a while, Dan, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's been a while that we watched something that was so stupid that I had a blast with it. Just outright the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. And yes, it's directed by Uwe Boll. Did I say that right?
We're watching an Uwe Boll movie.
Yeah, we are. We're going to watch House of the Dead.
I don't even know what this is.
Video game adaptation. One of my favorite video games. House of the Dead 3 on the Wii U. I think that's what it was my favorite. I was obsessed with that game. Yeah, it's classic zombies, shooting zombies, having a good time. And we're going to watch it. It's going to be great.
We're going to the VHS aisle and to House of the Dead. Whatever that is. Do you have an idea of what year this would be from, Tony?
it's got to be 2000s, right? It might even be. What if it's the same year?
I don't know. I haven't.
Hold on. House of the Dead, 2003.
Oh, perfect.
So we're sticking in the same year. Now we can compare them.
Yeah.
What a treat. I'm excited.
Let's see if anybody gets emotional.
Dan, this has 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And this is a movie we can get, right?
Yeah. We can get it. And if we can't get it, I'll buy it. If I don't already have it, I feel like I probably have it.
Have you seen this movie?
I for sure saw it when it came out back a long time ago, but I haven't seen it since.
Okay.
Very excited.
So we're going to do some real movies that are made for Halloween, which means they spent 17 cents on everything. They have some real quality actors that are going on inside there.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking at the cast right now. I don't recognize any of the faces,
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, good.
It's going to be great.
And happy Halloween season. And
October, the best time of the year, everybody.
Leave us a comment, subscribe, or hit that like button. And we'll be back next week with House of the Dead. And we'll be talking all about that. I looked it up. It's right here on a piece of paper that I wrote.
All right. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch him!